Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a matter of personal and collective privilege. For the past 2 decades, I have delivered a breastfeeding speech every August in recognition of National Breastfeeding Month. The theme for the World Health Organization's 2025 World Breastfeeding Week is Invest in Breastfeeding, Invest in the Future. Supporting breastfeeding means ensuring mothers have access to the information and help they need to breastfeed for as long as they choose. Why is this information important? I will explain later on as I go through the history of the laws that we have passed. The World Health Organization and United Nations Children's Fund recommend that children initiate breastfeeding within the first hour of birth and be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of life. Breastfeeding is the simplest way to give a baby its first immunity and address malnutrition, serving as nature's first immunization. As party to the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, the Philippines is committed to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into our national development plans and policies. Breastfeeding is shown to affect several of the SDGs, namely SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 3 good health and well-being, SDG 4 quality education, SDG 5 gender equality, SDG 10 reduce inequalities, SDG 12 responsible consumption and production, SDG 13 climate action, SDG 17 partnership for the goals. What can we do better? According to the 2023 National Nutrition Survey, only 50.4% of babies are exclusively breastfed during the first 6 months. So why is this figure important? It means roughly 50% of the babies are not exclusively breastfed. So how are they fed? Well, for some who can afford, they would purchase formula-bought breast milk substitutes, which are clearly not as nutritious as a mother's milk. And they also have their form of danger because when a family is either in a crisis situation or lives in poverty and they do not have access to clean water, then the formula milk that they serve their baby with water that is unclean can also lead to many illnesses, including deaths for babies. So that is the problem, even if they have the ability to purchase formula milk. And for others, they make do with homemade alternatives that are not necessarily nutritious, are definitely not as nutritious. So they would make what they call AM, which is water from bigas, from the rice. Am kasi, so tinagalog ko, bigas. Yung tubig, di ba maputi yun? Pagkatapos mong hugasan yung bigas, ang tawag doon, am. So yun yung pinapainom nila sa baby that has almost zero nutritional value. So marami hong mga ganyan. Tapos yung iba, condensed milk, evaporated milk, ihahalo lang sa tubig. And this is really not what an infant needs. That's why importante itong figure na tandaan natin na only 50% of babies are exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months. So we have a long way to go, Mr. President. Now, what began as a call to recognize the nutritional and developmental value of breast milk has since evolved into a sustained legislative and public health campaign. Through laws that regulate the marketing of breast milk substitute, mandate workplace lactation support, and promote breastfeeding awareness, we have gradually built the foundation for a more breastfeeding-friendly Philippines. It is important to acknowledge the progress that we have achieved through the different legislative measures. So here's a brief history, my dear colleagues. 1986. Napanganak na kaya si Camille noon? Anyway, tagal na to 1986. Executive Order Number 51 or the Philippine Milk Code was promulgated. napaka-importanting batas nito, but I will just highlight a few points. It prohibits the advertising, promotion, or sponsorship of breast milk substitutes, feeding bottles, and teats intended for infants up to 24 months. When I became a senator in 2004, 21 years ago, mainit ho ang diskusyon nito because many hospitals, including our own public hospitals, were still advertising, were still promoting, were still sponsoring formula milk. Ang lakaran po doon, yung sales rep pupunta sa ospital tapos nagre-regalo na yan sa nanay ng lata ng gatas. Si nanay naman, not knowing, I don't even think I knew it also when I was a young mother. I did thank you, ninagluhan mo ako ng gatas, di ba? But sino ba naman hindi magte-thank you? But what they don't know is, pag naumpisahan mo ang baby mo ng formula milk, di syempre, less ang pagsuso niya sa'yo kasi nga, may iba kang pinapakain. And the milk supply of a mother is supply and demand. The more a baby sucks, the more there will be milk. So the more na may magregalo ng milk, di the more na hindi na makaka-produce ng gatas ang nanay. And then tuloy-tuloy na siyang wala ng supply, tuloy-tuloy na siyang magiging dependent sa formula milk. Ang tindi ng laban nito, mga colleagues, no, mga kababayan na nakikinig sa atin. Ang tinding laban nito kasi talagang pinipilit ng mga milk companies na magbigay ng ganyang libreng mga gatas sa mga ospital. Sa pagkakaalam ko, we have been quite successful kasi wala na ho akong nababalitaan, wala na akong naririnig. Pero consider this a call to DOH, to the LGU executives na tingnan nyo, let's be sure na hindi na ho tumabalik, hindi na ho tayo masingitan ng ganito. The another thing that's very important, understanding this issue on sponsorship, siguro many of you will say, pero I see commercials na pinopromote yung milk formula, yung tinatawag na breast milk substitutes. Well, supposedly, hindi yan dapat na po-promote for under 6 months and below. There was a time, and I still believe in it, gusto ko nga 24 months pa onward ang pag-promote. Kasi yung 24 months, medyo toddler na yan. Ano ba difference nung baby na 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? I don't think most people can tell the difference by looking at a baby in an advertisement. So when you see a baby in an advertisement, hindi sila lumalabag dun sa law, pero kasi yung law natin, medyo mababa yung age na pwede nang i-promote yan. So that's still something that I wish we had the political will to do para lalong ma-promote ang pagbe-breastfeed. Kasi alam nyo na yung style ng promotion, sasabihin na pag ito yung gatas na inom ng baby mo, magiging matalino siya, magiging star pupil siya, magiging matangkad siya. Hindi po. The best way na maging lahat siya na ganun, dumede siya sa nanay niya. The next law is RA 7600 or the Rooming In and Breastfeeding Act in 1992, authored by the late Senator Ed Angara. Ito po yung law na nagre-require na pagkapanganak, dun agad yung baby sa room ng mommy as the picture shows. Kasi dati, kasama yan sa nagpapakahirap sa nanay na maging successful ang kanyang pag-breastfeed kasi yung baby niya nasa nursery. So ayaw din yan ng mga milk companies na mapasa din itong batas na to kasi the more na yung baby malayo sa baby, the more na pag iniyak, at yun yung sinasabi ng nurse, umiyak eh. Tapos bibigyan nila ng formula. Pero kung ang baby kasama na agad ng mami pag iyak, dede ng mami kaagad ang ibibigay sa kanya. So this is a very important law in 1992. And then in 2006, I filed my first bill to promote breastfeeding in the country. I authored Senate Bill number 2490 or the Breastfeeding Promotion Act. We passed it, but unfortunately, it stalled in the House of Representatives. So nagsustall din sa kanila paminsan-minsan, hindi lang naman po sa atin, kasi may gusto sanang i-interrupt sana ako ng majority floor leader to say that, kasi sinabi ko na para sa inyong lahat. In 2007, no need to say sorry. In 2007, I refiled my bill in the 14th Congress, Senate Bill number 761, which sought to require lactation station in public places and in private and government offices. It also mandated employers to allow milk breaks for nursing employees. So ngayon, so finally pumasa to in 2009. It's called the Expanded Breastfeeding Promotion Act of 2009. And this is why when you go to malls, when you go to bus stations, when you go to airports, you will see these breastfeeding stations. ito po yun. Ito po yung batas natin that has been in place for some 15 years, and I'm very grateful. Nakikita ko to sa mga, kahit saan ako nakakarating sa Pilipinas, pero kung may nakita kayong public place na tingin nyo kailangan yan, pakireport na lang sa DOH or sabihin nyo yung administrator doon, because this is the law and it needs to be followed. What's also interesting to note, dear colleagues, is that itong lactation stations natin are also available in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. The lactation station in the Senate is also my project with our Gender and Development Office. Circa what year? I think this was before my second term ended in 2016. I also want to point out that here, one of the reasons I take time delivering this speech is because many of us have female colleagues. Many of them are mothers. Many of them have given birth, and many of them would like to breastfeed. And one way we can support them is, of course, this breastfeeding room, which is open to the public. The good news here is I've heard reports where a resource person would attend the hearing, nagbe-breastfeed siya. Alam niyo naman yung hearing natin, minsan aabutin ng 4 na oras, 6 na oras, and they were very relieved to know that, pakibalik lang yung picture, to know that may breastfeeding room tayo. But I also want to take the opportunity to commend my staff. I have many female staff, including my lawyers, including my personal staff, who are models for the working mom breastfeeding life. There are dozens of photos of them discreetly discreetly breastfeeding behind the scene. Whatever work their principals are doing, they're still there discreetly breastfeeding. So I encourage our colleagues to take note of this, kasi these are working moms na even though napasa na natin yung 105 expanded maternity leave law sponsored by Senator Risa here in the Senate, and which I authored when I was in the House, kailangan pa rin nila ng support while they are working with us. So on the last point, this is an ongoing challenge for us. My office and I personally have breastfeeding seminars all over the country, kasi ang laking tipid, I don't think I emphasized that yet, ang laking tipid for a family to be able to rely on a breastfeeding mom's milk. Ang laki ng, imagine if for 1 year nakakapag-breastfeed siya, ang laking bagay nun sa health ng anak niya, pero ang laking tipid din sa ibang gastusin dun sa pamilya. So I hope DOH continues the work. Tayo naman po nag-advocate lang nito, but we call on all our colleagues to support this. And one last point is, in the Breastfeeding Promotion Act that we passed, it calls on DepEd, CHED, and TESDA to incorporate in the courses. Doesn't mean that you have to have a separate course dedicated to this. Hindi ganun yun. Ini-incorporate lang. So when you talk about family life, when you talk about health and nutrition, naka-incorporate yan sa courses nila. So I think that is the end of my breastfeeding lecture for everyone. I hope that you will all be supportive of your female staff and the breastfeeding culture in the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. President. First to interpellate is one of our breastfeeding champions of the Senate, no other than Senator Bato de la Rosa. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator De La Rosa, our breastfeeding champion, is
Thank you, Mr.
recognized.
President.
You may proceed, sir, with the permission of the lady.
Actually, Mr. President, this is not an interpellation, just a short manifestation that, for the record, since the senatorial comeback of the good lady from Pateros, Senator Pia, in the 19th Congress, she has been advocating for this breastfeeding, and for the record, I've been very supportive of her advocacy. Nakatatlong Congress na po tayo, and I want to be consistent. This time around, I want to support you because I myself, I really love breastfeeding, Mr. President. You know why? Please don't get me wrong. You know why? Kasi siyam kaming magkapatid na lumaki through breastfeeding ng aking nanay. And kapag darating yung panahon na tutuyo na yung gatas sa paano tawagin yan? Tutoy sa amin sa Bisaya.
Tutoy, dede.
Yung tutoy ng aking nanay, lalo na yung medyo lumaki na ako, utusan kagad ako ng nanay. Oy, magsaing ka na. Kahit na hindi panahon pa na magsaing, i-advance mo na yung kakainin natin mamayang hapunan, magsaing ka na. You know why? What's the purpose of that? Totoo yung sabi ni Senator Pia na kung daw, hindi siya nutritious yung arms, yung from the rice. Arms from the rice.
Walang S,
Basta sa amin, kung yun ano yun, laot sa bigas.
Okay.
Pero yung sa amin, hindi yung sabi mo na huhugasan yung bigas. Kundi talagang lulutuin yung bigas. Habang kumukulo yung bigas, ibabawas namin yung tubig, kukunin tubig at yun ilagay sa biberon at pinapadidi sa amin. Hindi nga siya nutritious but it served the purpose. Yeah. Dahil tatahimik na kami. Yung bata kapag nakadidi na ng arms na galing sa bigas, tahimik na kami dahil busog na eh. May laman na yung tiyan namin. So I really appreciate parents na talagang nagsumikap na breastfeed yung kanilang mga anak. Dahil kung lalo na yung working, yung nanay ko nagtitinda sa palengke ng isda, talagang siguruhin niya yan na bago siya aalis, ma-breastfeed yung mga kapatid ko. At pag wala siya doon sa palengke, hinahatid ko yung kapatid ko doon sa palengke para i-breastfeed ng nanay ko. So, that's the reason why I love breastfeeding. Iba yung iniisip ninyo, kaya huwag kayong tumawa dyan. That's for the record, Mr. President. Thank you, and I am very supportive of Senator Pia's advocacy. Thank you, Mr. President.
And I just want to thank the gentleman for sharing that. It seems to be a core memory for him. Ako naman yung nanay ko, dinadala sa office ko yung anak ko para magpatuloy ng breastfeeding kasi after ng maternity leave na 60 days, ang hirap na hirap ako sa first few days kung paano ko iaano yung gatas ko. So yung mami ko dinadala niya. So same as you would do with your siblings. And I just also want to thank Senator Bato for sharing this story because and I've also shared this before. When I first started delivering these breastfeeding speeches, hindi nag-uumpisa pala yung speech ko, tumatawa na yung mga kalalakihan dito. So I thank the gentleman na hindi naman kayo tumawa nung nagsispeech ako kasi hindi naman nakakatawa ang breastfeeding. Natawa na lang kayo kay Senator Bato because sadyang nakakatawa naman siya. Pero niliwanag niya ang ibig niya sabihin. So thank you for that. Thank you for that kasi importanteng maintindihan talaga natin yung kahalagahan ng subject matter na ito.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bato. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, hindi po ako kasama dun sa iniisip ni Senator Bato na may iniisip na iba. And that's why I am a big fan of Senator Bato and I know that he is indeed a champion for breastfeeding in this August chamber. Next, Mr. President, to interpellate is the distinguished gentleman from Palawan, no other than Senator Erwin Tulfo. I move that he be recognized.
Senator Erwin Tulfo is recognized for his interjections. You may proceed, sir, with the permission of the lady who has the floor.
Of course.
Mr. President, it's not an interpellation, rather a manifestation of my full support for Senator Pia Cayetano's privileged speech on the importance of breastfeeding. This month of August, as we commemorate both World Breastfeeding Month and our very own National Breastfeeding Awareness, it is timely that we renew our commitment to the welfare of Filipino moms and their children. With the kind indulgence of the Honorable Lady from Taguig, may I pose a few questions, not to challenge, but rather to underscore the significance of the issues she raised.
Of course.
Mr. President, question is, how much funding, public funding, is actually allocated to ensure these programs reach the women who need them most? Because if it's not enough, Mr. President, then we can probably, this budget season, we can ask the Department of Health to increase so that we can further help these mothers on their breastfeeding campaign.
Thank you for that question, Mr. President. For 2025, there is a budget of 25.9 million, so almost 26 million for optimal infant and young child feeding practices, which includes breastfeeding promotions. These are all under the Disease Prevention and Control Bureau budget. So my understanding is this is not entirely for breastfeeding. So part lang yan. Your question is so important, Mr. President, because when I mentioned the history and how milk companies have a lot of ads, may budget sila for ads, and they are promoting milk in a can. Wala naman tayong budget for promoting milk from mother's breast. Wala. The most lang na requirement is sabihin lang nila na mother's milk is best. There's a standard statement na ganon. So definitely, Mr. President, yung idea po ng ating colleague to increase the budget would be very welcome. Thank you.
Right. The next question, Mr. President, are there enough breastfeeding stations, not just in commercial establishments like malls, but more importantly, government offices and other public places, particularly in the provinces, Mr. President?
I doubt very much if there is any entity that has really checked how prevalent the public breastfeeding facilities are all over. I can only speak for my own experience kasi nga hinahanap ko yan when I travel. So I can say that in a far-flung terminal, bus terminals mas bihira. Medyo dun minsan kasi maliit lang, tapos wala silang space. But I've seen it in terminal pa ba tawag doon? Yung port. There you go, port. The port, kasi alam ng Chief of Staff ko yung port kung saan tuwa ako dun sa breastfeeding lactation room was the port from, is it Tubigon? Tubigon, Bohol to Cebu. So meron naman, but I'm so certain, Mr. President, that we can do better.
Because, Mr. President, the lack of these facilities may discourage moms or mothers from breastfeeding in public due to privacy concerns and societal perceptions.
That is absolutely correct, Mr. President.
One last point, Mr. President, what are the common obstacles that prevent mothers from practicing breastfeeding?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. That's my favorite question. So, again, I speak from experience, but I think many women have the same experience as me. If you're a working mom, at the time I was a working mom, so this was in the late 90s, early 2000, you only have 60 days maternity leave. So when you leave your baby at 60 days, like in my case, my babies were fully breastfed. My baby was fully breastfed. Pagdating ko sa office, nilagnat ako para ako magkakasakit kasi hindi ako sanay na hindi dumedede regularly yung baby sa akin. So parang yung gatas hindi ko malabas. So ang laki nung adjustment period ko. That's why I was saying that my mother would even bring my baby to me. And then I had to buy and experiment with different pumps. May mahal, may mura. Sa totoo lang nga, ang nag-work yung pinakamurang pump. I was blessed in that sense na nag-work yung murang klaseng pump sa akin. When I had my second baby, nag-upgrade na ako ng electric pump and that was very effective, pero mahal yon. So if offices, and of course this would be the bigger offices, and that's what I also requested, I'm not sure kung meron tayo dito, pero alam ko ni-request ko yon, yung industrialized commercial pump so that it can be used by different women. Maganda sanang investment yon kasi it makes it very efficient to pump the milk while they're at work. So I think that's the number one difficulty for working mothers. Whether you have a regular job or katulad ng sabi ni Senator Bato na yung nanay niya nagbebenta sa palengke, pakahirap ng buhay na yon, nagta-travel siya, namimili ng bibebenta niya, magbebenta. I'm sure walang breastfeeding room dun sa palengke. But nowadays, dapat meron. The other thing, Mr. President, is really acceptance by society. Like I showed you the photos of my staff. Never ko sila pinilit, sila yan. Their maternity leave is done. They're attending the hearings. They wear what you can call like a breastfeeding. It's really the acceptance also of society na choice ng mother yon, kung gusto niyang gawin yon, hindi siya dapat mapahiya or mahiya or ma-embarrass. But like His Honor said, we also have to create these facilities that those who want to just do this in private can also do this in private. So it's also the facilities. But really, it's public acceptance, and then the promotion, like His Honor said, of breastfeeding versus having to purchase synthetically made milk.
Mr. President, on a personal note, I'm not ashamed to admit that I've always been close to our mother. And that bond has shaped the way I view the role of mothers in our society. For that reason, I hold deep respect and gratitude for all mothers. And I commend Senator Pia Cayetano for her steadfast advocacy in protecting their rights and welfare. Kaisa po ninyo ako, Senator Cayetano. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. And I've heard wonderful stories about your mother, which your sister shared with me. So I'm happy to know how much she's inspired His Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, next to Senator Robin Hood Padilla seeking the floor, I move that he be recognized.
Maraming salamat po.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla is recognized for his interjections. You may proceed, sir, with the permission of the lady who has the floor.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa ating pinunong mayorya. Hindi naman po ako magbibigay ng katanungan, kundi manifestation lang po. Sapagkat ako po ay matagal na naging endorser. Ako po ay naging trabaho ko po yan. Ngayon pong panahon nito, napakahalaga ng isang katulad po ni Senator Pia Cayetano ang maging champion ng breastfeeding. Sapagkat natatalo po tayo ng mga advertisement, ng mga masasabi natin mga produkto na nakakapagbigay minsan ng maling impormasyon na ang akala nila basta formula okay na. Napakaganda po kanina ng presentasyon ng ating mahal na senadora nung pinakita niya po na halos, tama po ba, 50% lang ng mga Pilipina ang
nakakakompleto nung 6 months exclusive breastfeeding, which is yun talagang recommended para yung kompletong nutritional value, emotional value na mabibigay ng breastfeeding mabigay 50% lang.
Opo, sa akin po medyo malungkot po 'yon. Sapagkat naniniwala din po ako sa sinabi ni Senator Bato de la Rosa na napakahalaga po talaga. At nakita naman po natin sa pangangatawan ni Senator Bato na talagang maganda ang epekto ng breastfeeding. Ganon din po sa aking anak. Nakita ko po yan dahil ang akin pong may bahay, ang akin pong asawa, si Mariel, siya po ay nag-breastfeeding din. Sa kanya nga po, 2 years hanggang 2 years siya.
Yan ho ang recommended, 2 years pa.
Opo.
Hanggat kaya ng nanay.
Opo. Nakita ko po yun, ma'am, na talagang noong nagpanahon ng COVID, lahat po kami sa bahay nagka-COVID. Pera lang po yung anak namin na nag-breastfeeding.
Wow.
Inshallah, may Allah protect her always. Kaya po hanggang ngayon, hindi ko makalimutan yon kasi last standing po sa bahay namin, yung anak ko na yon. Kaya ako po ay naniniwala at ako po ay sumusuporta po sa inyo. Ito po ay hindi simpleng usapin lang ng nutrisyon. Ang breastfeeding po ay pundasyon ng kalusugan, ng sanggol, ng ina at ng susunod na henerasyon. Ito rin ay karapatang dapat kinikilala hindi lamang sa salita, kundi sa mga konkretong patakaran. Sapat na maternity leave, breastfeeding station sa mga pampubliko at pribadong lugar, at edukasyong nakasandigan sa agham at malasakit. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Senator.
The manifestation and interjection of the Honorable Robin Hood Padilla are duly noted. Majority Floor Leader.
Next to interpolate is the distinguished lady from Antique, no other than Senator Lauren Legarda. I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Lauren Legarda is recognized for his interjections with the permission of the lady from the gig.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's not really an interpellation, but a manifestation of support for Senator Pia Cayetano, who has, since the time that I've met her here in the Senate, has been regularly advocating for breastfeeding, not only in privileged speeches, but in intervention sometimes when news comes out about something about formula milk, or it's been very, very regular and soulful, if I may say. And I would like to think that the issue of breastfeeding is not only a health and nutrition issue, it's also an emotional issue and a bonding moments with our children. And having had two children whom I breastfed, but I was just whispering to Senator Pangilinan, there are some guilt pangs sometimes for working mothers, because I recall I had a cesarean operation, but after 3 weeks, I went back to work. And at that time, that was long ago, the pumps were, of course, manual pumps, and even banking milk or keeping milk wasn't not a regular thing. Yeah. So if I may, and this is quite personal, I tried my best, but with the technology now, perhaps it should be easier. It should be more regular for our mothers to breastfeed and to bank them. Which brings me to my message today, and I hope that the good chairman, I'm not sure if it's in your committee, the Breast Milk Banking Act. I'm not certain where this was referred to. The
Probably
Health Committee?
Probably Health.
Yes, the chairman is Senator Go. You're a member, I'm certain.
Yeah.
I hope that you will support this after studying it. It aims to modernize and institutionalize breast milk banking, ensuring timely access to safe donor milk for premature, high-risk, and emergency-affected infants. And the bill also mandates a national breast milk banking strategy, expanding regional human milk bank units with satellite banks nationwide, establishing donation areas in hospitals and private medical and non-medical facilities, enforcing standardized safety protocols, and creating a real-time online milk tracking system for efficient distribution, especially during emergencies. So I hope that the good chair of the Health Committee, assuming my proposed measure has been referred to his committee, and our primary advocate of breastfeeding in the Senate and other members of our chamber would support this measure after study. Yes.
Actually, Mr. President, I'm very excited that Her Honor has a bill, because it's something I have been advocating also for a couple of decades. We have milk banking existing already.
Yes.
But just like many things, we're very happy to institutionalize it.
Yes.
So we have in Fabella, we've included it. We actually have 600,000 to support the efforts of Fabella, kasi sila yung takbuhan eh. For the information of many, when you have premature babies, and if for one reason or another the mother cannot breastfeed, or sometimes abandoned babies, very sick babies, sick mothers, then you have this milk bank that has milk. And then we also supported the opening of a milk bank in Vicente Soto. Ang tagal na po.
In Cebu.
More than 10 years ago na. And then our own hospital in Taguig Pateros, we also have a milk bank. But yes, we definitely want to institutionalize so that in situations like Her Honor mentioned, like disasters, then may pagkukunan nito. And it gives such a good feeling. I actually donated milk, not through a milk bank, but just through a friend. And till this day, the mom, when she's my friend, when she sees me, she tells her child na, Tita Pia is the one who gave you breast milk when I didn't have breast milk. So can you imagine the support system that we create through this milk bank? So yes, that is a very. I'll be happy to subcommittee if His Honor would like us to proceed.
Yes, perhaps a first hearing, and I'm thank you for that. I was aware that it was already in existence in Fabella. I'm glad to know that in Cebu, Vicente Soto, but I'm told that not all regions have
not all
banks, breast. Milk banks, and banks sometimes share resources with the hospitals that cannot operate. In short, it's not there's a lack of resources. It's not institutionalized yet.
And unless we come in and step in, it probably won't be a priority. So
it will not. And let's make it a priority. As we mentioned in our message, which you concurred with, premature. O ilan yan? Second, during disasters, when the parents or the families are in camps, or what you call the not refugee camps,
In prison.
or either in prison
or even-
in disasters,
Yeah.
and there's no privacy and you're not able to give your milk. But if there are if there are milk banks, then it would be readily available. And I think the low percentage of children who are fed by breast milk would rise if we institutionalize the breast bank. So I'm glad to excite you on this issue, and I hope we can have, I'm certain, the cooperation of the Health Committee. So before the end of the year, we can institutionalize this and provide even an amendment, if the chair of the Finance Committee would agree, at least to have regional milk banks for our children. So that is my intervention. I'm grateful to the good senator from Taguig and Pateros for bringing this very important nutritional, emotional issue for women and children and for families during breastfeeding month, which is this month of August.
Thank you, Senator Lauren. I just also, before I want to end on this note, I thank the good senator for her interventions. I don't know if she missed it because I thought she stood up to discuss this point. I had earlier stated that breastfeeding is shown to affect several of the SDGs, including SDG 13 on climate action. So I thought that that's what Her Honor will discuss. But nevertheless, because I know that's close to her heart, I just want to say that, you know, when I see this, sometimes I have to pause a minute and say, okay, what is the connection? Breastfeeding, climate change. Well, simple. Industrialization. The more industrialization we have, the more use of chemicals, the more combustion in the air, which is exactly what happens when you have to produce milk that comes in a can, that comes in plastic.
Yes.
So that's
through
why
the
if you
packaging
breastfeed,
of
exactly.
Yes, and as I mentioned, in disasters and such a vulnerable nation, 20 typhoons a year or more, and those who are in temporary shelters in schools, we must provide the need of children who are breastfeeding with their mothers who live in disaster areas. So thank you for that, and we look forward to working with the committee and with Your Honor for the passage of this measure soonest. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Legarda. For the information of the ladies of the floor, Chair confirms that indeed that bill was referred to the Committee on Health.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chaired by Senator Go. Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. President. Last but not the least is the distinguished Deputy Minority Leader, no other than Senator Risa Ontiveros. I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized for her interjection with the permission of the lady from Taguig.
Salamat tabi, Mr. President. Dear Senator from Taguig and Pateros, pakiramdam ko parang taunang ritual natin ito.
Yes, exactly.
Especially for us women here in the Senate.
Yes.
And I really anticipate it, and it's so meaningful.
Thank you.
Every year for all of us.
And so is your intervention, Your Honor.
Salamat po. And hopefully also for our kabaro who are witnessing these annual exchanges spurred by your privileged speeches. So if you would allow just a brief manifestation first and then my brief interpellation. So Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to associate myself with the privileged speech of our colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano. Sa totoo lang po, even my staff is grateful to her, Mr. President, for the breastfeeding lounge here in the Senate. Like her staff, as she has just mentioned, my staff are pump ladies. Strike anywhere, ika nga. Pero pasalamat po sila sa maganda nating breastfeeding lounge dito, thanks to the good senator from Taguig and Pateros.
And our GAD office.
And our GAD office, yes. Senator Pia, mabuhay ang ating GAD office. Because truly, breastfeeding is not only a personal health choice, but a national development imperative. And as you have always pointed out, it's also a global imperative through the Sustainable Development Goals. Breastfeeding indeed protects our children, strengthens our families, and reduces the burden of disease on our healthcare system. Kaya pinasa namin ni Senator Pia ang maternity leave law sa ilalim ni nooy Senate President at ngayon Minority Leader Tito Soto, because of the need to give longer, because also of the need to give longer breastfeeding time to our mothers and infants. But I wish to underscore one critical gap. While our laws on maternity leave and breastfeeding support are progressive, they benefit mainly those in formal employment.
Yes.
And the good senator has also referred to this in her speech.
Yes.
Millions of Filipino mothers in the gig and informal economy, delivery riders, partners, market vendors, tulad ng nabanggit nyo na rin, Senator Pia, online freelancers, even household workers continue to be left behind. These are women who do not have employers bound by law to provide maternity leave, lactation breaks, or even breastfeeding stations. Kung sino pa ang pinaka-nangangailangan ng suporta, sila pa ang hindi nakatatanggap. Maternity protection and breastfeeding should not be a privilege only for those with formal jobs. It should be the right of every mother and every child. If we are to uphold the intent of our laws and the Constitution's mandate to protect mothers and children, we must begin to craft measures that extend maternity benefits and breastfeeding support to these women. So I thank Senator Pia Cayetano, Mr. President, for championing this cause, and I hope we can work together to continue to ensure no mother is left behind. So, now, dear Senator from Taguig and Pateros, just a few interpellation questions. Madam Sponsor, you have rightly emphasized the benefits of breastfeeding. Given your long advocacy, nakikita nyo rin po ba yung pangangailangan na, yun na nga, i-extend yung maternity benefit, maternity protection sa mga kabaro natin na nasa gig at saka informal economy na hindi pa nasasakupan ng ating mga kasalukuyang batas?
Yeah, so as Her Honor was pointing out this other women who are not in the formal economy, napaisip nga ako nung mga klase ng trabaho, no? So for example, ang nanay, work from home, may sarili siyang negosyo. In that sense, I would like to surmise na kontrolado niya yung oras niya, therefore may flexibility naman siya. Pero yung nasa gig, by law kasi, ang napagkakaalala ko, by law, we refer nga naman to an employer. So kung nagigig ka, di wala kayong employer-employee relationship, di ba? So baka doon tayo may gap na magandang amendment, di ba? Kasi, so in other words, whenever there is a working mom performing her job, her principal or her client should recognize the fact that she is a breastfeeding mom and extend utmost support the same way we have provided in the law. For the record, compromise na nga po yung breastfeeding time na nilagay natin in the law. In the law, it is only 40 minutes. 20, you can take it twice 20-20. And for those who have tried to express milk, ang swerte mo na kung in one breastfeeding session of 20 minutes, marami kang ma-express. Some can, but not me, I cannot in 20 minutes. Pero wala, these are compromises that we had to make with the business sector, with the industry. So, ang dami pa talagang room for improvement, but perhaps we can start with a simple amendment that it's not just employer-employee, but any woman rendering service should have those needs of hers recognized. Thank you for that, dear Senator Risa.
Salamat po, dear lady from Taguig and Pateros. Hindi lang sa suporta nyo sa pag-explore natin ng breastfeeding support sa mga women sa informal and gig economies, pati yung suggestion ninyo na I take it as a suggestion kasi it sparked an idea in my mind kung pwede rin nating tignan na madagdagan yung, hindi lang yung duration na 20 minutes, pero yung dami ng mga ganong breastfeeding breaks kung kakayanin. Kasi lalo na kung batang-bata pa yung baby, maalala natin, posibleng every 2 or every 3 hours kailangan
kaya
po
nga
niya mag-breastfeed.
Totoo.
Opo.
Definitely. I think sa depende din sa klase ng work nila. Kaya I tried my very best to be understanding din dun sa industry nung kausap natin. I can imagine katulad sa trabaho natin kung nagre-research or in my case yung mga abogado ko, ang dami nilang flexibility. They can even use my own room to lactate, or if they even bring their baby, it's fine with me. But not all have those kind of working arrangements, diba? So we have to be creative in how we try to provide this kind of environment for mothers. And let's take note, Mr. President, I think we're doing a good job compared to other countries where hindi na nga nag-abalang bumalik sa workforce ang mga kababaihan kasi talagang they get very little support in the workforce. So let's try to keep improving and do better for them.
I'm with you there, Senator Pia. Now, in your view, ano kaya yung pinaka-feasible na mechanism? Whether yun ay PhilHealth, SSS, o kahit bagong Social Protection Fund na pwedeng mag-provide ng income support para sa mga nanay sa informal sector para magkaroon sila ng panahon na mag-breastfeed exclusively sa unang 6 na buwan ng buhay ng baby nila?
Kasi nung pinasa natin, when we were working on the expanded maternity leave law, panay nga yung paliwanag natin sa industry na maliit lang yung tama nito sa inyo kasi dun yan kukunin sa SSS. Kung tama yung naaalala ko, employees receiving up to 40,000 a month, yung nando sa pay grade na yon, pasok na pasok yon. So karamihan naman ng rank and file, di ba, kahit mga supervisors, pasok pa naman sila doon. So wala nang ang idadagdag pa doon ang employer. Walang pabigat sa kanila. Kaya ang hirap intindihin na ba't ayaw niyong pumayag, di ba? Kesa sa naman yung babaeng yan, hindi na magtrabaho, nawalan pa yung buong pamilya niya. Syempre manganganak yan I mean, most, at least in our country, still want to have children. Sa ibang bansa kasi maraming kababaihan ayaw na magkaroon ng anak. And that's something we have to be prepared for, ha? All over the world, in many industrialized countries, childbirth is being delayed, getting married is being delayed or not even happening anymore. So now is the time for us to think of programs that will still make it a dream for many. Ako, dream ko na magkaroon ng anak. Dream ko yon. Maybe not everybody shares that dream. Pero yan yung gusto natin, that people can raise their families and still be able to provide for them. So, pagkukunan, honestly, Mr. President, ako talaga, mas gusto ko na yung mga support targeted. So even if I look at the funding that we throw in, that we provide, DSWD, DOLE, I think ang first beneficiaries dapat dun yung working mothers, di ba? So baka we can creatively come up with programs that provide additional support for these mothers. And I need to share a very short story. Years ago, I was a new senator. The usual, may bagyo, calamity, tumulong ako doon. Inaabutan natin ng relief goods ang mga kababayan natin, di ba? But because of my involvement in women and in particular yung concern ko sa buntis at bagong panganak na mga nanay, sabi ko, gawa ng hiwalay na pila ang buntis at yung nagpapadede na nanay kasi yung goodie bag niya, yung relief bag niya, dagdagan nyo ng protein at dagdagan nyo ng tubig. Diba kasi feeding 2 siya So buntis ka, feeding 2, breastfeeding ka, feeding 2. Tapos as any breastfeeding mother knows, nakakauhaw, so tubig. And then I would make small chat with each mother I came across. O pang ilang pagbubuntis mo na yan, ilan na anak mo. Nalula akong sa sagot kasi yung sagot was pang 5, pang 7, pang 9. Sabi ko, aabot pa kaya sa nanay itong additional na 1 dosenang itlog? Siyam yung anak niya. Bigyan niya na lang tig-isa yun, halos wala nang natira sa kanya. So, as Her Honor knows, this issue is compounded. Walang simpleng solution. Pero I think, yung target natin, yung beneficiary natin, simple, yung nanay. Diba? Yung nanay. So, let's start with the target, the mothers, pregnant, and then lactating mothers. And what funds are available out there, let's pool it and try to support these mothers.
Salamat, Senator Pia. And I'm sure makakatulong din yung mga dagdag na pag-aaral. What's the cost-benefit analysis here? Para mapakita talaga natin that if we get to support through identified sources of funds, we get to support women working in the informal economy more na makapag-breastfeed, they will be able to raise healthier kids.
Exactly. True.
Diba? Who will
Very
learn
true.
better, eventually work better. So
Very
overall, add to the social capital of our
That's very true.
society at makatipid sa health expenses dahil
Totoo.
mas makaiiwas sila sa sakit.
Totoo yan. Lahat ng sinabi niyo, totoo.
Salamat po. Second to the last question. Would you agree, Madam Sponsor, na kung ang poprotektahan lamang natin yung mga women in the formal economy, we would risk widening inequality in child health outcomes. Dahil ngayon pa lang, yung poorer mothers, they often belong to the informal sector at sila talaga napipilitang bumalik agad sa trabaho pagkatapos mga anak. Kasi kung arawan lang yung sahod nila, yung talagang 1 days off from work, 1 days less ng konti pang dagdag na pera para sa mga anak nila.
I believe that the benefit should extend to both women in the formal economies and in the informal. Banggitin ko lang na dun sa speech ko mismo, tsaka dun sa mga sagot ko dun sa mga colleagues natin na nagtanong din, in-emphasize ko din yung creating a breastfeeding environment. Kasi maraming kababaihan sa informal sector, exactly like the case of Senator Bato's mom, kaya naman niyang magdede dun sa kinalalagyan niya ng trabaho. Yun nga lang, asa nung si baby, di dinadala pa sa kanya, di ba? So, may mga difficulties, pero pwede kung sa pwede. So, in that sense, as long as ipagpatuloy natin yung pagpopromote ng breastfeeding culture para anytime, anywhere, pwedeng magpadede, walang kahihiyan, hindi dapat mag-sorry dahil nagpapadede siya, hindi kailangan mag-excuse me, karapatan niya yun, pangangailangan ng anak niyon, then we make it easier for women in the informal sector pa rin to continue breastfeeding. As to the financial support, then baka nga dun pwedeng pumasok ang gobyerno, di ba?
Opo. And I'm glad nakapag-usap tayo tungkol sa tanong na to, a good lady from Taguigan, Pateros, Mr. President, dahil another way of appreciating the topic is, even if in a modest way, yung breastfeeding, kung susuportahan natin pareho sa mga babae sa formal economy at sa informal economy, even in a modest way, it can actually contribute to a more equitable society. Kasi mas mabibigyan ng level playing field, lalo na yung mga baby, nung lahat ng mga babaeng makakapag-breastfeed kahit pa sa gig or sa informal economy nagtatrabaho. So just my last question, good lady from Taguigan, Pateros. Tulad ni, I think it was Senator Erwin earlier, napansin ko rin po yung pinakita nyong data from the 90s up to now, the 2020s, yung percentage lamang pala ng mga bata dapat of breastfeeding age na nakaka-achieve ng 100% breastfeeding at least for the first 6 months of life. So nagfa-fluctuate between the 40% and the 30%.
30%,
so
yeah.
never talagang significantly nakakalampas dun sa halfway mark of 50%. Parang may ibang klaseng glass ceiling doon. And I recall, dear Senator Pia, sabi nyo nga, you have been delivering speeches to champion this advocacy for the last 2 decades. So parang isang henerasyon na yon. So now my last question is, right? So may mga baby noon na ngayon, nagtatapos na sila.
Botante na.
At botante na. Nagtatapos na
Baka
sa pag-aaral.
nag-college na, yes.
Baka nagka-college na. Eventually, sila rin magtataguyod ng sariling mga pamilya. So maybe it's a generational question. What do you think it would take, the one most important action or at most 3 most important actions para we can break through that floor or that glass ceiling and really bring our society into that that space na higit kalahati man lang sa mga babies natin ay na-enjoy po nila yung full breastfeeding at least for the first 6 months of life, Mr. President.
Well, I think the most accurate answer should be data-driven, di ba?
Yes.
So, di ko alam kung meron tayong data na magsasabing bakit ka tumigil. I remember before, I don't have it in my speech, but I remember before, I did have information. Ano yung top reasons kung ba't tumitigil mag-breastfeed? And number 1 is really returning to work. I mean, it's a practical, di ba? It's practical whether informal ka, formal ka. Syempre, the fact na bumalik ka sa work, hindi mo na physically kasama yung baby mo, it requires a a change in your day-to-day practice. Like in my case, kahit saan ako pumunta, bit-bit ko yung pump na yan. At kahit saan ako pumunta, every 2 to 3 hours, expected ko na nasasakit na yung dibdib ko. I have to excuse myself. Lahat na yata ng klaseng lugar nakapag-pump ako with my children. So the transition from being a stay-at-home mom and being able to breastfeed 24/7 to going about your day-to-day chores would already, I think, create percentage decline in breastfeeding moms. But siguro banggitin natin yung hindi ko masyado nabanggit ngayon, pero I remember in the last previous year, kino-comment ko din yung mga colleagues natin na naging supportive breastfeeding fathers. Ang laking factor noon. Kasi kung si father magsiselos pa dahil walang time sa kanya, or sasabihin, yung ibang anak hindi naaasikaso, or yung bahay magulo, didagdag pa yan sa problema ng mga nanay, di ba? Kasi problema na nga nila yan, nagkabago pa silang baby, another responsibility. So, I think the support, kaya nga, in many speeches I've given in the past, the focus was on supporting the mother during this time. The whole family, from the husband, to the ate, to the kuya, really supporting that breastfeeding journey. Kasi, madaling bumitaw at hindi siguro nila, syempre, kung ikaw yung nanay, hindi mo naman inaaral tong data na to, I don't know kung and by the way, Your Honor, that's why it was very important to include in the law na ito is ini-include din sa med school. Kasi not all doctors, and I've talked to not yung personal pedya ng mga anak ko, but I've talked to a lot of doctors na wala naman yan masyado sa sermon nila sa mga nanay. From the OB, sana tuloy-tuloy yun, di ba? From the barangay health worker to the doctor na nagbibigay ng prenatal hanggang sa check-up ni baby, lahat yun talagang dinidikdik sa kanya, breastfeed. We can do better with all of those, I believe, Your Honor.
I agree.
President.
And thank you, Gentle Lady from Taguigan Pateros, for, I think, the most important clue you've given us today doon sa pag-cite nyo ng pinaka-importanting dahilan bakit tumitigil sa full breastfeeding before the 6 months at least for women going back to work, including sa gig at informal economy. So, ibig sabihin, once we leave the most conducive breastfeeding environment, which is the home, di sana katulong nung babae yung
environment
workplace.
Na yan, yes,
para dun din maglikha ng breastfeeding environment such as we have been creating here at the Senate. So maraming salamat po kay Senator Pia Cayetano, Mr. President. Lastly, I have filed Senate Bill 566, Magna Carta for Women in the Informal Economy, precisely to help bridge this gap that we have been talking about. At sana po magkaisa din kami ni Senator Pia at lahat ng mga kabaro natin dito. Ayan, si Senator Loren din na nag-interpolate din kanina sa layuning ito. Maraming salamat po, Senator Pia.
Babasahin ko po yung bill nyo na yan at I will share my ideas on how to improve the lives of our women in the informal sector, especially with this issue on breastfeeding their babies. Thank you so much for the Deputy Minority Floor Leader's interventions.
With due thanks to our Deputy Minority Floor Leader. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, may I just put into the records of this August Chamber our sincerest thanks and gratitude to our dear colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, for yearly and regularly reminding us not just to support her advocacy, but also reminding us that we can make a difference and we could be of help in any way. And so again, we put our full support to her advocacy. With that, Mr. President, I move that we refer the privileged speech of Senator Pia Cayetano and all the interpellations and manifestations thereon to the Committee on Health and Demography. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved, and congratulations to Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.